why don't we start with names, pronouns, what we do in the world, and why this is important.
Sounds good. Thank you, John. My name is Patrick Hellier. It is an honor to be here tonight with this wonderful group of people. I use he, him pronouns, and I am a private immigration attorney. And
Patrick was in our interview when we were about to become citizens. Was in our interview when it was not going well and helped it go well. So yes.
no more deserving people in the community than those two.
Thank you.
My name is Rose Takari. I use she, her pronouns, and I am an immigration case manager. Patrick is actually my coworker. So we've had a couple cases together.
Organizer with the Monarca Rapid Response Line. I know a couple folks in here that training. So that's awesome. And one of the reasons I do this work is I fundamentally believe every person has the right to self-determination, and people don't just deserve papers, they deserve power and dignity. I want to feel proud of the country I live in, and right now I don't think that it's representing our values, so I want to work to make that different.
Yeah, thank you. So our first question is, what are some of the biggest challenges you've seen immigrants face? Just context. The reason we designed this panel in this way is we wanted to ask people that work with immigrants all the time, every day, or seriously in their work, so they can share some of the stories, some of the moments, some of the things that would be helpful for you to understand so that you can love your immigrant neighbors better each and every day, okay? So the first question is, what are some of the biggest challenges you're seeing immigrants face? Let's go first. You can just raise your hand.
So I think one thing that came to mind when I was thinking about this question is something that we've heard a lot tonight. But I think by the very nature of being an immigrant, you have a separation of space and have traveled from one home not knowing exactly what you'll find where you go, but to leave family and friends and community and culture and language in one place, and then to work to create those things in a brand new place. It really is for immigrants and for the children of immigrants, it is to be living in two homes and working to try to be your full self in both in a way that can be very challenging to do, because there's always someone, always something that you really care about in the other place, and your life interweaves in the life that you left behind and in the new one that you formed. Even if you thought you would come for like a month or 5 years and then you'd go home, and now it's been 25 years, it's very hard to untangle those things, and it really is to have more than one home.
Yeah. Woo! Yes. Hey, let's practice snapping. Yeah. Okay. If they say something good, you're always going to say something good. You got this. Okay.
I think one of the most common things right now that we see and that our immigrant community is facing more than ever is the constant reminder on social media of how everything seems to be going downhill every single day. There's something new, a new law passed against our immigrant community on a daily basis. Statuses are being eliminated. People are feeling now more than ever like their life is in limbo here. They feel uncertain. In our job especially, we get calls on a daily basis. What happens if I'm not here tomorrow? Do you guys help with my kids that are U.S. citizens that might be left behind here? What is an emergency plan? And just the constant not knowing what's going to happen, especially right now, is very, very difficult. And it's very difficult listening to family members of my own say these kind of things, and very difficult to hear clients of ours saying these things. So just, I guess, a reminder of giving them all the love and support during these moments, and showing them that you're there for them and that you care for them and that they're valued in our community.
I would just say, from my perspective, in getting to meet a variety of different immigrants from different communities every day, one common trend is just the fear of being detained by ICE. I know that's not news to this crowd, but it's a very real thing. And immigrants are forced to make contingency plans, to have Mariah and her team come up with a DOPA document so that if a parent is detained and not to be heard from, that there's a plan in place. And I personally can't imagine living with that fear and having to constantly be thinking about what if and the legal avenues to address some of these things get more and more narrow, but that's not to say there isn't hope. There are a lot of incredible immigration lawyers across the country that work every single day to fight what is happening. Every move they make, there's an answer, and there is a response. So I just want to plug that last bit in there to say there is hope to fight against that.
What are some of the biggest misconceptions people have about immigration? We can start with you.
Yeah. There is a certain population in this country that thinks immigration is as simple as getting in line and waiting your turn. That is so far from reality. It's a bit silly, not the right word, but that's the one I'm going to use this evening. There is no real case type to process yourself in as an immigrant that's based on being a hardworking, committed, law-abiding person. It doesn't really exist. You're typically forced to contort your history, your story, your family, some part of your life into a very specific box to find a way to pay a bunch of fees to maybe get in line and move forward at some point in the future. There is just a staggering number of people who have this misconception that, why didn't they go through lawful channels? Why didn't they just get their spot in line, wait their turn, and do the interview and come in legally? And I'm just here to tell you that that is a fairy tale in a lot of cases, and certainly there are one-offs where there is a way to proceed in some regard like that, but usually it's not that clean, it's not that neat, and you're forced to be something and present your story in a way that Congress has decided is worthy of applying for entry and coming to our country.
One of the common misconceptions I see is that they are coming to take our jobs, that they are coming to take our benefits. In reality, these people are doing jobs that I'm pretty sure a lot of us would not do, taking hours that we would not take, and taking really low-paying jobs, and some even under minimum wage. Our country runs on these immigrants. I can promise you that they're everywhere. They're doing jobs that we would not take, and we take them for granted, and social media and people often label them as something horrible when they are what keeps us running as a country.
Say it.
I think one misconception that I've seen from people who don't have a lot of close immigrant family or friends is that a family is either undocumented or documented, and it's one or the other, or it is a citizen family or it is not. And I think mixed status families make up a huge proportion of immigrant families, and very often it is U.S. citizen children who are growing up in a house of fear for their older relatives, for what might happen. And so those children are experiencing, unfair housing conditions because their parent might be afraid to approach the landlord about repairs that need to happen for fear of being discovered. Or not receiving public assistance when they would otherwise qualify because either the system is hard to navigate, their parents aren't eligible even though they are. And so I think that it's one of many instances that shows that the immigration system and the injustice of it transcends citizenship, and it affects all of us. It affects US citizens, it affects people of all different documentation statuses, and to just try to bucket one group of people as being undocumented it's a total farce. It's a fairy tale that doesn't exist.
Thank you for that. We're doing these ones. These are a little bit more rapid fire, maybe just 2 sentences. What is a moment of joy or justice you've witnessed in our immigrant community?
Okay, rapid fire. One, there's now a Muslim immigrant who's leading the largest city in this country. I think that's and closer to home, more than 65,000 people voted for the son of Somali immigrants to lead the largest city in our state. So those bring me joy. Also, the trainings that Monarca is doing have more and more and more and more people showing up. The protests have more and more people showing up. So many people are committed to figuring out how they can make this situation be better. And that feels like an antidote to despair for me. I find so much hope with other people in the resistance.
Yeah.
Although times are tough, I think right now seeing families or a family member be able to obtain status right now is something that brings so much joy during this time. It makes me really happy, and so happy to see that these people are obtaining some kind of status to be able to go back home after many, many years.
Yeah.
Just 2 sentences, I promise. Just like Rose was saying, when someone gets a status that allows them to travel and that opening a door to go back and see family that it's been 20 plus years since they've gotten to enjoy time with them, that is a very uplifting moment. And also on occasion when I get to attend an oath ceremony with the clients and you go sit in a room and it's 100 people that you can see the resilience, the patience, the commitments, and all the time that they've spent trying to get to that room to have that ceremony. It's a pretty magical time.
Yeah, thanks for that. Just like if there ever be a moment in your life where you're like, I want to know what heaven looks like. I want to know what heaven looks like. I've lived 31 years. I don't know, like the closest I've seen to heaven is an oath ceremony. It is every country you could imagine. Like I think it's like 100. They almost check every single country. But to know every tribe, every tongue, every nation represented, for you to see that kind of diversity, for you to see that kind of unity, it's beautiful. So if you ever get a chance, I think you can just go. So check out a U.S. citizenship oath ceremony. The next question, and then also rapid fire, who is an immigrant in your life or community who inspires you? Why? Also, you can keep them anonymous or give them a different name like Sarah or Sam, but a real person that inspires you, and why?
I have countless clients that inspire me, but I would answer that by saying all of my DACA clients and their parents. I don't know if you're familiar with DACA, but it's a program specifically for people who came as children. They didn't make a decision to come to the United States. They were typically brought by their parents, and if they meet certain qualifications, they get a temporary 2-year work card, and with that they can get a Social Security. And every 2 years they have to reprove their worth to this country they're living in, which is probably the only country they know as home. And their resilience and their dedication really inspires me. And just a shout out to their parents too, because their stories are really remarkable in that they give everything for their children. They come to the United States to work 5 a.m. to 6 p.m. 6 days a week just to make sure that their children have an opportunity that they may not have grown up with.
I'm a little biased. I would say my mom and my dad, they came here with nothing. Both of them came in the late 80s, early 90s. They have been here for such a long time. They're a couple of the people that have not been able to go back home in many, many years. We're actually going home next Friday. They came from literally nothing. They lived in poverty for a lot of their life, and they came here and built so much. And all the people here that have immigrated here, I admire you guys so much. I don't know how you do it, and I don't know if I could do it, genuinely.
I have a young person in my life who we'll call him Lenny. He came here at the age of 16, and after a few months of being here, became separated from his mother, but was navigating high school and all the fraught relationships that go along with being 16 in a brand new place with all of the kind of stories that we've talked about, and worked to graduate from high school, formed really deep friendships, takes such good care of his younger cousins and his family, all while working to support himself with the hope of going to college. And so I think that level of hope and dedication to a better future that he could not see in his country of origin, it just really brings me a lot of joy and a lot of pride for what he's accomplished so far in his time here.
Beautiful. For our last question, I'm gonna do, if you can say one thing, and Rose will say one thing, and then you can say all the things. what can we do to show solidarity and support for immigrants in our community? Thinking like things, what can we do? What can we do? One suggestion, one opportunity.
Humanize, empathize, and consider who your elected representatives care about and what they want to do with immigration policy.
Yeah.
I second what Patrick said, but I think now more than ever, at least I'm doing this, try and go out there to those small, locally owned immigrant businesses. They need your support more than ever. They're not being supported online, and let's show them some love because they're also employing these people, and they will really appreciate that. And share stuff on social media. It goes a long way. Let's block out that negativity with positive things and being informative.
Awesome. So I think some of the things that we can do is first and foremost, like ask immigrant families or international student or neighbors what support they need or what support they want from you. That could be buying groceries. It could be creating like mutual aid fund. If people are afraid to go to work. So like first ask people what they want so you can show up in the way that they are asking for. I think these were both mentioned, but contacting your elected representatives or people in positions of power, whether it's at your clinic, at your child's school, at a child care center, making sure they have a plan in place for when federal agents show up. What is their response and how are they restricting access as much as possible? How are we getting more sanctuary cities? How are we restricting collaboration with ICE? These are all letters, calls we can be making to the people who represent us in various public and private spaces of our lives. I also think organizing hyperlocal chats with your neighbors so that you can alert each other to federal activity, so that those people who shouldn't be going outside at that time aren't, and so those people who have the privilege to be able to respond can go outside. Use a whistle if you've seen what they're doing in Chicago. You can become a court observer with Advocates for Human Rights. It is, from what I've heard, a heartbreaking job, but it is one that needs to be happening. We need to make sure that these things aren't happening in the dark. And then the last one that I'll say is attending Monarca rapid response training, as I mentioned, like some people in this room already have. It teaches you to be a legal observer to ICE activity, what to document, what to bring, what not to bring, how to be nonviolent, how to de-escalate, and how to become a part of our network. And you can go to monarcamn.org to find upcoming trainings. We have a lot of public ones. I'll say it one more time, monarcamn.org.
And we will also email you all these great resources and opportunities. And of course, just know that this isn't a one-time event. There are 3 great organizations, churches, ministries that want to keep caring about justice and joy at the U of M and in our city. Can we give these amazing panelists